Criminal Law Book I, CLJ 3. Lecture 003. The concept of plurality of crimes. Plurality of crimes refers to situations where a person commits multiple criminal acts. Understanding this concept is crucial because it determines how a person is prosecuted and sentenced when multiple offenses are involved. The concept of plurality of crimes is addressed in the Revised Penal Code of the Philippines, which outlines different scenarios under which crimes can be considered distinct or related, affecting the overall legal consequences for the offender. Types of plurality of crimes. Plurality of crimes can generally be classified into two major categories: real plurality, material plurality. Ideal plurality, formal plurality. Each type has its own implications in terms of prosecution, sentencing, and legal consequences. Real plurality, material plurality. Definition: real plurality occurs when a person commits two or more distinct and separate criminal acts, each of which constitutes an independent crime. This means that each act violates a different provision of law, and each act is considered a separate offense. Characteristics. Multiple acts: there are two or more acts committed by the offender. Separate crimes: each act is treated as a distinct crime, leading to separate charges for each offense. Independent punishments: each crime is punishable independently of the others, meaning the offender can receive multiple sentences corresponding to each crime. Example: a person robs a store and then, on a separate occasion, commits arson in a different location. These two acts, robbery and arson, are distinct crimes and are treated separately in the eyes of the law. Legal implications. In cases of real plurality, the law treats each crime individually. The offender may be prosecuted and sentenced for each crime independently, potentially leading to consecutive sentences. The principle of concurrent or consecutive sentencing may apply depending on the circumstances and the discretion of the court. Ideal plurality, formal plurality. Definition: ideal plurality occurs when a single act constitutes two or more offenses. This means that one criminal act violates multiple legal provisions or gives rise to multiple crimes. Characteristics. Single act: only one act is committed by the offender. Multiple crimes: this single act results in the commission of two or more crimes. The act may be in violation of multiple laws or result in multiple charges. Single penalty: typically, only the most severe penalty is imposed, following the rule that the more serious offense absorbs the lesser one. Example: a person fires a gun in a crowded place, resulting in the death of one person and injury to another. This single act could constitute multiple crimes, such as homicide and physical injuries, under the Revised Penal Code. Legal implications. In ideal plurality cases, the law may allow for the imposition of only one penalty, usually for the most serious crime. The offender is prosecuted for all crimes, but the sentence is based on the offense with the highest penalty. Special considerations and related concepts. The concept of plurality of crimes is closely related to several other legal principles that determine how multiple offenses are handled. Continuing crimes, delito continuado. Definition: a continuing crime refers to a situation where a single criminal intent leads to a series of acts spread over a period of time, but these acts are part of a single crime. The offender performs a series of acts that, taken together, constitute a single continuous offense. Example: a person repeatedly steals small amounts of money from the same victim over a period of time. Although there are multiple acts of theft, they are treated as one continuous crime. Implications: in such cases, the penalty is typically imposed based on the totality of the criminal conduct, rather than for each individual act. Complex crimes, delito complejo. Definition: complex crimes arise when a single act results in two or more grave or less grave felonies, or when an offense is a necessary means for committing another offense. This is recognized under Article 48 of the Revised Penal Code. Example: if a person sets fire to a house with the intent to kill its occupants, and the fire results in both arson and homicide, the two crimes are complexed into one. Implications: in complex crimes, the law prescribes that the penalty for the more serious offense shall be imposed in its maximum period. Habitual delinquency. Definition: habitual delinquency refers to a situation where a person repeatedly commits crimes over a certain period. The Revised Penal Code provides for additional penalties for those who are considered habitual delinquents. Implications: habitual delinquents face increased penalties for their repeated offenses, as the law aims to discourage recidivism and habitual criminal behavior. Recidivism. Definition: recidivism occurs when a person, having been previously convicted of a crime, commits a similar offense. This is treated as an aggravating circumstance under the Revised Penal Code. Implications: a recidivist may receive a harsher sentence due to their previous convictions, as the law views repeated offenses as indicative of a criminal disposition. Quasi-recidivism. Definition: quasi-recidivism occurs when a person commits a felony before serving or while serving a sentence for another crime. This is also an aggravating circumstance. Implications: offenders who commit a crime while serving a sentence or before completing it are subject to increased penalties, reflecting the seriousness of their disregard for the law. Application in the Philippine legal system. The plurality of crimes has significant implications in the administration of justice. Courts must carefully determine whether multiple acts constitute separate crimes, real plurality, or a single act gives rise to multiple offenses, ideal plurality. The correct classification influences how the charges are filed, how the trial is conducted, and how the sentences are imposed. Judicial discretion. Courts often exercise discretion in deciding whether to impose penalties consecutively or concurrently in cases of real plurality. In ideal plurality, courts must determine which offense carries the highest penalty and apply it. Importance of legal representation. Due to the complexity of cases involving plurality of crimes, legal representation is crucial. Skilled legal counsel can argue for the most favorable interpretation of the law, potentially reducing the severity of the penalties. Conclusion. The concept of plurality of crimes is essential for understanding how multiple offenses are prosecuted and punished within the Philippine legal system. Real plurality involves distinct and separate crimes, leading to multiple charges and potentially multiple sentences. Ideal plurality, on the other hand, involves a single act that results in multiple offenses, generally leading to a single penalty for the most serious crime. Understanding these distinctions helps ensure that justice is served fairly and appropriately, taking into account the specific circumstances of each case.